from Scienceville, Indiana. This is Scott Parr. Scott, you are an Ironman. Mike.
All right, welcome back to the Far Outpost. Here is our final race report of the year. 2023 is officially in the books. We got 3 half marathons done, 2 half Ironmans, and the big one, a full Ironman in Ironman, Florida. It was the 25th anniversary of this race. That is why I chose it. It's historically significant to the sport. It has a true and honest swim in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's just a big, like Florida is just one of the big ones, Florida and Lake Placid. So there we go, we finished. Let's get into it really quickly. Y'all know the journey, you've seen the other videos. So this was the final step. This was the 2.4 mile swim into the 112 mile bike into the full marathon. You're given 17 hours to do it. I will splice in as much kind of B-roll as I can here. My wife was nice enough to travel with me, and Lisa took a bunch of videos and got a bunch of pictures, so I'll throw those in. But just to get into the actual race itself, the days leading up to the race, the weather was perfect. I mean, it really was perfect. The last couple of years when the swim has been very, very, very difficult, like I'm talking 25% of the competitors disqualified on the swim, has been when the weather has come in the night before, and then the current and the riptides and everything kind of develop overnight because of the weather coming in. In this case, the weather came in Tuesday, 3 or 4 days before. Wednesday was brutal, and then by Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it just kept getting warmer and calmer and better. And so we knew Friday that we were going to finish. I knew Friday I was going to finish, and I knew Friday that it was going to be a beautiful day, and it was mostly just going to be winds. There you go. There's my date with Destiny right there. You guys, this is going to be perfect. I can't wait. In about 2 days, I'll be an Ironman. The one other crazy thing about this course is that you get wind behind you, pushing you on the bike for the first 70 miles. If you have a brutal swim, that's the way that the tides work and the wind coming across Florida. And then the last 40 miles back is really tough. Or if you have a beautiful swim, that means that the winds are against you the first 70 miles and they are with you the last 40. So it's kind of an interesting juxtaposition of whether you want a tough swim or a tough bike. As you all know, you just get whatever the course gives you that day is what you get. So Saturday we wake up, I woke up at 3:30. I did a couple of things differently. I had oatmeal at 3:30 in the morning with a shake and some extra nutrition. I normally don't do that. I normally show up to these races empty and I just eat on the course. But I did fuel a couple hours before race start. I went to my bike in transition. It's the first time I've been really, really happy in transition. I just feel like the changes my coaches have made to my swimming over the summer have made it so that this sport is no longer like me dragging myself through it to prove that I have grit. And now it's actually me enjoying this sport, right? So I get to transition, it's fun, I'm telling my dad jokes, I'm meeting a bunch of people, it was a great time. The transition at a full is it's just so much more well presented than a half. A half you get kind of one little area and you cart a bunch of your stuff in. A full, there's a lot of like valet service and a lot of them bringing you your things. That was awesome. But anyway, we get to the swim start.
All right, we're getting ready to start. Scott's down there somewhere in the massive green swim caps.
The swim start was a normal kind of big cluster of people. I got in hoping to do an hour and a half, and on the first lap, I did 50 minutes, which is right about what I did in Muncie. Muncie was 49 minutes, so we were okay. The sighting was good. The water was pretty calm, you know, like maybe a foot swells tops. I could see all the buoys. I could sight really well, but it's a 2-lap course, and so by the time I entered as an average age grouper, the pros were on their second lap, and the advanced age groupers or the fast age groupers were also on their second lap. So that first lap I was swam over, I was swam through, I was punched, I was pulled. They kept pulling my feet and punching me in the back of the head. Not like Mike Tyson, but like, you know, when people are going in the water, they just don't care where you are, they're going. And so every time their hands came forward, if you're in their way, they're just clubbing you in the back. or in my case, clubbing me in the back of the head. So that was interesting to get used to. And then there was one time where I was coming up to breathe as someone was swimming over me. So they pushed my head into the water and I breathed in the salt water. I had to sit up for a moment and kind of cough myself clear of the salt water, and my throat was burning. And those were the kind of the moments where you're like, okay, like you're in it now, right? And I got out of the first lap. I looked down at my watch. It was 50 minutes. I was like, okay, we're okay. Let's get the second lap going. And all those fast people will be gone. So there'll be less people in the water on your second lap. When I got around to start my second lap, I had one tiny little moment where I was like, look, no one expected you to even get this far. This is like, no one does this, you know, in my needing to lose the amount of weight I had to lose and being as a novice as I am. You could go home right now, you beat the IHOP by 11, and no one's gonna give you any grief for it. And as I was saying that to myself and wading in the water, I got about armpit high in the water, and I was like thinking, you wanna do this or not? A lady behind me yells, all right, and I turn around, and it's a lady and about 6 other guys and a dude right here. And she's like, one more lap, let's go. And she dives in the water. And I look at the guy next to me and I'm like, well, I guess we're going. And we both dove in, and I knew at that moment that we were good. I knew at that moment I would be an Ironman because I just had never started a race that I hadn't finished. And so moment of weakness aside, we're good. So the second lap, the tide is now in. They're 3-foot swells instead of 1-foot swells. I didn't see a buoy my whole second lap. I simply swam with other people. And then there was a really nice lifeguard kayaker that kept telling us to go left because we couldn't see the buoys. It was like when we were at the bottom of a swell, the buoys were at the top, or when we were at the top of the swells, the buoys were at the bottom. I didn't see a buoy. Maybe. There was 19 buoys. Maybe I saw a couple of them, but I didn't have an easy sighting time like I did the first lap. So I finished the second lap in 1:53, which means the second lap took me 63 minutes. That's brutal. And that's just because we couldn't see. So we were all just kind of trying to do the best we could to work around. It's a 2.4 mile course. I did 2.5 miles according to my Garmin. So again, a little bit of a sighting issue added another 1/10 of a mile, right? Once I got out of the water, I ran past Lisa. I went to get on my bike, and the transition people like took my wetsuit off of me, rolled it up, packed it in the bag for me, handed me my helmet, handed me my shoes. It was like shopping at like a high-end store and having a bunch of assistants bring you items to try on. It was crazy. I love the full transitions. They don't do that at halves. And so that was really cool. I got out, I got on my bike, and it seemed like for that first 70 miles, the wind was coming from 16 different directions. My bike was slower than Muncie, faster than Chattanooga, but right with where I wanted to be. I stopped at every single aid station. I didn't leave with any nutrition on the bike as far as bottles. I just rode the first 20 miles with my front water container. If you see my bike, I've got a front hydration that I filled up with water in the morning. I drank that water for the first 20 miles, and then at the first aid station, I grabbed a bunch of Gatorades and a bunch of waters, loaded up the bike. And then every 15 miles after that, I stopped and got new Gatorade, new water. I took in everything I could possibly take in. I finished the bike in a little over 7 hours. So now when I'm running out, second transition, same thing. They're taking my helmet, they're packing it for me, they're handing me my running shoes. I get out and I see Lisa, and she's like, you have 7.5 hours to run the marathon. I mean, that's like, I should be able to do it in 5. Right? So 7.5 is like, we're gold. And at that point in time, I decided you can go all out and maybe not finish, right? Maybe you get injured, maybe you trip, maybe you maybe you bonk, right? You run out of glycogen in your body and you can't finish, or you can pull up. So I ran 7 of the 26 miles, and the other 19 miles, I made friends. I hung out with people. I got some new Facebook friends, right? I talked to everyone that would talk to me and exchanged our stories and what we went through and how we got here and what we did.
Right finish. Straight ahead. Come on, guys. Right there. Go, guys. 8:20.
I knew it was you from your bright headlight.
Love you.
You can do it.
Okay, so and it was just fun. Like definitely the last half of the marathon was like just fun, and it was just exactly what I wanted the sport to be when I got into it a couple of years ago. So California's next. Next year we're going to run that whole marathon. I have friends and teammates coming to that event, so I'm training specifically to go fast in California. Florida was just about finishing. I am officially an Ironman. They said it. I'll play that clip when they went through it, and it was 100% legitimate. No course shortening, no weather delays, none of that kind of nonsense. We finished, and really happy with how the year went. So thanks for being along the journey here. Probably for the next year, this page will go back to gym reviews and working out. We'll do a lot more triathlon content, but this was a great year and very excited to be part of the club now. So thanks for stopping by. Take care.
From Scienceville, Indiana, this is Scott Parr. Scott, you are an Ironman. Michael Schreiber, you are an Ironman from Largo, Florida, representing the Philippines. And Real Enriquez, you are an Ironman. Jaime Torres, who you are.